You know that feeling when you're saving money by doing everything yourself? But your revenue is stuck. Your to-do list is screaming and you secretly want to burn your laptop down. That's what we're talking about today because the number one lie the online business world sold you is this. If you're doing it all yourself, you're lazy, entitled, or wasting money. Meanwhile, the real cost of DIY is quietly draining your profit, your energy, and your creativity. So in this episode, I'm going to show you exactly when DIY makes sense and when it's time to get help so your business can actually grow. Today, I want to help you set yourself up for 2026 so you can double your productivity and finally start getting the help you deserve in your business. Whether you're still a one-woman or one-man show, doing everything yourself, or you already have some help and you're worried about what it will mean to hire more help. I've been where you're at more times than I can tell you. I've been in the I'll just do it myself phase. I've been in the I'm terrified, but I'm hiring anyway phase. And I've been in the let me hire all the people to fix all my problems phase. And that did not go well. I've also been in the cut the team back so I can rebuild this in a more sustainable way phase, which dropped me straight back into doing too much myself again. And now I've finally landed in a much healthier middle ground, a place where I can hand things off in a smart way that doesn't blow up the budget, but does help me to get back my time, my energy, and my brain space, one small handover at a time. And that's what I want for you too. If you're a course creator, or even if you're a coach or an online expert who has assembled your own sales page in Kajabi at midnight, or duct taped together 14 different tools, or watched 27 YouTube videos just to connect a checkout page to your email list, and you're still telling yourself, I can't afford help yet. I'll just do it myself now. This episode is for you. And today we're talking about the hidden costs of DIY that no one puts in the spreadsheet. How do you know when it's time to invest in help before you burn it all down? What to outsource at each stage of your revenue journey so you don't overhire or underhire? And how to do the simple math on whether help is actually worth it. By the end of this episode, you'll have permission to stop doing it all yourself and have a clear plan for what to do to get help with next. Not someday, but as you set up your business for a calmer, more supported 2026. This episode is part of our 12-week series on setting yourself up for an incredibly successful 2026, whether you're tuning in for the first time or following along from the start. Today's episode is one piece of a much bigger puzzle. So let's dive in. First, I want to talk to you about the lie of I'm saving money by doing it myself. When I hired my very first person, my business was doing around 200 or 300K a year. And up until that point, I was doing everything. The marketing, the sales, onboarding, ads, management, customer support, just me. One-woman show. I'd only been full-time in my business for 8 or 9 months at the time, and hiring felt huge. I was terrified, but I knew I couldn't keep going this way. So I posted for an admin hire because I didn't believe I'd find someone who could do both admin and ads. And of the applicants I got, 2 women stood out. One was a qualified online business manager, came with a certificate and all. More expensive, but credentialed. The other had no online business experience, but she'd been following me and she loved it and she lived just up the road, and she showed me how her skills from the job she did before she had kids could translate to what I needed, and I really liked her energy. I couldn't choose between the two, so in true Salome fashion, I hired both. Within 6 weeks, the OBM was gone. And the other woman stayed for 3 years. And she was a wonderful part of my beginning of being in business story. So, the first lesson I want you to take away is you can't always predict who'll work out, but doing it yourself isn't a long-term strategy, and there is no one way to fix it. Fast forward a year, I started calling my business an agency. We had about 16 clients, and my family booked a 6-week US holiday. I knew I couldn't disappear for 6 weeks and serve my clients without help. So I needed to get people who were going to be in the ads manager every day, people who understood how to manage ads. So I hired 3 different ads managers, all part-time, all contractors. Each one will take care of 4 of my clients. Within 2 weeks, one ghosted me, and then another one disappeared after 6 weeks. The third one, Caroline, she's still with me today, crushing it and managing all of my client accounts. And then came 2023 and all of the iOS changes and the post-COVID shifts, industry turbulence. And I overhired, thinking more people would solve my problems. I didn't need more people. What I needed was clearer systems, better leadership, and realistic capacity planning. I've lived every version of this, doing it all myself, overhiring in a panic mode, and cutting back to rebuild sustainably, and now landing in a healthy middle ground. The lesson is that DIY always comes at a cost. Bad hires also have a cost. The goal is strategic investment in the right help at the right time. We tell ourselves, I'm saving money by doing it myself. But most of the time, we're paying a different and a much higher price. So let's talk about what that price really is. The hidden costs of DIY. DIY has 3 hidden costs that most people never track. Number 1 is time. Every hour fixing tech is an hour you're not selling, coaching or teaching students, or creating content. You're not your own admin department. You are the CEO. The second way it costs you is in energy. It doesn't just drain your calendar, it drains your creative brain. 3 hours wrestling with Zapier? Your best thinking is gone for the day. That's a cost you don't see in your Xero or QuickBooks reports. And the third way it costs you is in delayed revenue. Every time you say, I'll launch when I figure this out, you're pushing back your next launch, your next promotion, your next evergreen funnel going live. And if that launch could bring in 20K, but you delay it by 2 months to DIY everything, you didn't save $2,000 by not hiring help. You lost 2 months of revenue. And as we go through this episode, hold this question in the back of your mind. What is DIY actually costing me in time, energy, and delayed revenue? Once you can see that clearly, it becomes easier to know when to keep something on your plate and when to get help. So let's go through some business stages and how to get help at different stages. Stage 1 is getting to your first consistent 5K months. This is your prove the offer stage. You're validating your course, you're finding your message, you're learning your audience. At this stage, DIY makes sense because you're still figuring out what works. You need to understand your customer deeply. You may not have cash flow for a big team, but you can start some smart ways to DIY. And here are some ways you can do this. Writing emails and social media posts. You need to do this yourself because you're learning your voice. Basic design with templates. And the key here is with templates. Tracking metrics on a simple spreadsheet. You've got to be in touch with your numbers. But here are some dangerous things to DIY. Any complex tech setups that keeps you stuck for weeks. Creating complicated funnels instead of launching something simple. If a task stops you for more than a day or two, that's your first hint that you might need help, even if it's just a one-off call. So turn every DIY you are doing right now into a template. That is a power tip I have for you. Every single thing you do should be a template at this stage. The big danger of this phase is reinventing the wheel over and over and over because you are new and you are figuring it out. Your power move is every time you DIY something, document it like you're creating it for the last time. Every email, every social post, every landing page, every lead magnet, ask yourself, how can I turn this into a template someone else could copy? It might look like saving your best email as a plug and play template, turning your real script into a simple outline, saving your landing page structure as a reusable layout, documenting the steps to publish your podcast. Once you have your templates, it's easy to hire someone on Fiverr or Upwork, give them your structure and say, copy this and fill in these blanks. That's how you start hiring help without committing to a full-time team member. And that's at stage 1. Stage 2 is when you're making between 5K and 20K months. It's the I'm the bottleneck stage. And this is where most people get into trouble. You have proof of concept. You've made sales. People are getting results. But your growth has slowed because everything runs through you. You're no longer in, can this work? You're in, oh crap, this is working and now I have to hold it all together phase. I remember this stage so clearly. I was working my tail off, thinking about hiring, opening job posts, closing them again, doing the math 1,000 different ways. And what really kicked in was a new level of fear. Not, will this work anymore? But, holy crap, what if this all goes away? It's that waiting for the other shoe to drop feeling. One of the biggest things that kept me holding on to everything myself was this thought. If revenue goes away, I'll be stuck with team costs I can't afford. So I'll just keep doing it all myself a little bit longer. The irony is, that's actually how revenue goes away. It doesn't vanish because you got smart help. It vanishes because you burn out and then you start dropping balls and then you stop showing up at your best or simply don't have capacity for new opportunities. When you're smart about hiring at this stage, you're not tempting fate. You're actually making it less likely that the other shoe will drop. Because when you hand off non-revenue generating tasks and free yourself up to stay focused on revenue generating work, selling, delivering, improving the offer, nurturing the leads, you give your business a much better chance of staying stable and growing. At this stage, DIY is no longer lean. It's limiting your capacity and feeding your fear. Smart places to invest when you're in this 5K to 20K month window: technology and automation. Someone to set up or clean up your funnels so leads aren't falling through the cracks. Design and assets, sales pages, slides, brand templates, so you're not tinkering in Canva. Customer support or VA help, so you're not answering every email or fixing every login or uploading every post yourself. Ask yourself, what am I doing over and over that someone else could do 80 or 85% as well as me, or even possibly better? Those are your first hires. They're not just a cost. They are insurance against burnout and against that other shoe drop feeling. And then stage 3, you're making 20K plus a month. You are building a support system now. Now you have a real engine. You're launching regularly, or your evergreen funnel is humming along. At this point, DIY isn't just expensive, it becomes dangerous. You become the single point of failure. You burn out, your quality drops. You may invest in maybe an ads manager or an agency, or get a dedicated techs or operations person, a content or copy partner, a part-time integrator, or an online business manager to keep everything moving. You don't need a huge team. You just need the right help in the places that free your brain to focus on vision, offers, strategy, and relationships. So here are 7 signs it's time to stop DIYing and get some help. Let's get practical. These are the clear signals that it's time to invest in help, even if your brain is saying, I should be able to do this myself. Sign number 1, tasks live on your to-do list for more than 30 days. If fix the welcome sequence or set up tracking has been on your list for a month or more, you're not going to magically find the time. You need help. Sign number 2, your revenue has plateaued while you're maxed out. If you've been sitting at roughly the same revenue for 6 to 12 months and you're working at near max capacity, the bottleneck is now capacity, not strategy. You need help, not more hustle. Sign 3, you're doing work you actively dread every week. We all have boring tasks, but if there's a recurring task you hate that drains your energy and doesn't need your unique brain, that's a great place to hire. Dread is very expensive. Sign number 4, you don't trust your own setup, or you feel things are duct taped together. If you're scared to touch your automations or scale your ads or change your funnel because you're terrified you'll break something, you need someone who does feel confident with the tech and the data. Sign number 5, you can afford it, but you're afraid. And this one might be a little bit tender. Sometimes you can afford help. You have the cash, but you're scared to pull the trigger. And usually, that fear sounds like, what if it doesn't work? Or what if I hire the wrong person? Or I don't want to waste money. Totally normal. We're going to talk about that and how to make that decision less scary next. So, how to decide if investing in help is worth it? If you, like me, came from a background of employment where you do a job in exchange for a fixed salary, you probably never learned to think about money the way entrepreneurs and business owners need to. In a traditional job, money lands in your bank account. It gets spent on cost of living and enjoyment. And maybe a little bit goes into savings. That's it. For me, coming out of that world, it was a huge mindset shift to learn that in business, the money that comes in is meant to be allocated to things that help you make more money. Paying for help isn't wasting money, it's an investment in your ability to create more revenue. Once I understood that, deciding whether to hire became less emotional and more practical. So let's make this simple. No spreadsheets, no CFO, just some grown up CEO thinking. Step number 1, I want you to put a dollar value on your time. Let's say your business is making 10K a month and you work 100 hours a month. Roughly, your time is worth $100 an hour to the business. Ask yourself, is it worth paying someone $30 or $50 an hour to do something that frees me up to do $100 an hour work? Most of the time, the answer is yes. Step 2, estimate the revenue impact that will have. You want to hire someone for $1,000 to fix your funnel tracking or $1,500 to improve your sales page and emails? Ask, is there a reasonable chance this will help me make at least an extra 3 to 5K the next launch or two? If the answer is yes, and you're not risking rent or food money, that's not spending, that's investing. Step 3, decide the time frame. Don't expect every investment to pay back in 5 minutes. Give it a reasonable window. I expect this investment to pay back in 3 to 6 months, or I expect this role to consistently free up X hours per week by a certain date. If the numbers make sense over that time frame, it's likely a good move. Step 4, define success before you hire. Before you bring anyone on, ask, what does success look like after 90 days? This is critical. How will I know this was worth it? Examples. Your webinar tech is working. Reminders are automated and you're not touching your CRM. Your next launch converts 1 or 2% higher on the sales page. You get 10 hours a month because you're not doing customer support. Clear expectations equal less disappointment, less drama, and fewer "I knew I shouldn't have hired someone" spirals. So, what do you outsource first without risking overhiring? One of the most expensive mistakes I made was to overhire in 2021. And one of the ways feeling out of control showed up for me was in my thinking, if I just hire more people, they'll bring skills to solve everything I'm struggling with. And so I hired and I hired and I hired. And I was wrong about what would actually fix the problem. While they were all incredibly skilled, really smart women, what they really needed to succeed was a leader who wasn't completely overstretched. A clear vision, standard operating procedures, simple, solid project management. And their leader, me, wasn't providing those things well at the time. I ended up with a bigger payroll, more people waiting on my direction, and even less capacity to think clearly and lead. I want to help you avoid most common outsourcing mistakes so you don't overhire like I did. Instead, bring in just enough of the right help at the right time. So if you're thinking, okay, I get it, I need help, but where do I start? Let's make this simple. Great first hires for most course creators. Number 1, tech or automation help, even just a setup package. Hire someone to set up your core funnel, to connect the pages and the forms, to create your zaps, to connect your webinar platforms and your checkout and your email, and document how it all fits together. This is like hiring an electrician instead of trying to rewire your house yourself. Number 2, design and templates. You don't need a full-time designer. Get a template kit from a designer for your slides, for your social posts, for your lead magnets, for your sales pages. From then on, you're not reinventing the wheel. You're just plugging content into a container. Number 3, customer support. A part-time VA can answer common questions your students have. They can handle tech or login issues, update links and pages, upload your podcast episodes, your blogs, or your YouTube videos, and post your content where it needs to go. This is one of the fastest ways to buy back mental space. Number 4, strategic help. Sometimes the bigger leverage isn't in someone who does tasks. It's in someone who helps you choose the right tasks in the right order. That might be a coach or a mentor or a strategy intensive or ongoing consulting. This kind of support can save you from building the wrong funnel or selling the wrong offer or spending 6 months going around in circles. You don't need to hire a huge team. You just need to start small. Start smart. And let each hire buy you back time, clarity, and capacity, not create more chaos. Let's zoom out for a second. A lot of us, especially women, especially high achievers, have picked up on this belief: if I'm not hustling and suffering, I haven't earned my success. So we over DIY, we over function, and overwork, because deep down we're trying to prove we deserve what we're building. You do not get extra points in business for doing everything the hard way. Successful CEOs aren't better at suffering. They're better at buying help at the right time. And last week, in episode 326, we talked about the permission slip you've been waiting for. I gave you a few permission slips. And if you haven't listened to that yet, go listen to that episode after this one, because today we have 3 new permission slips. You have permission to stop doing everything yourself. You've already earned your place here. You don't need to bleed for every task. You have permission to make imperfect hires. Not every contractor or assistant will be your forever person. And that doesn't mean you failed. It means you learned. You adjust. Permission to buy back your brain. Your job is to think and to lead and to create and to serve, not to drown in the back end of your own business. So set yourself up for a profitable and joyful 2026. And before we wrap up, I want to give you one simple exercise you can do this week to start setting yourself up for your most profitable and joyful. The version of you working less, making more, and not drowning in DIY. She is making boring, practical decisions about the things that stays on her plate and the things that gets handed off. And this exercise is where it starts. So step 1 is make a 3-column list. Grab a notebook or a Google Doc and create 3 columns. Column number 1, only I can do. Column number 2, I could teach someone else. And column number 3 is I hate this and it drains me. And think about your normal week and sort your tasks. Column number 1, your CEO work, strategy, selling, coaching, serving your students, content only you can create. Column number 2, your templates, your training plan, things you can document and hand off. And column number 3 is your first outsourcing plan, tasks that suck your soul and don't need your brain. And then give your 2026 self a gift. Look at column number 3, the I hate this and it drains me list, and choose one task, just one. And next to it, write, by the time 2026 rolls along, I will not be the one doing this anymore. And that might mean turning it into a template, documenting the steps, and then hiring someone on Fiverr or Upwork or a VA for a few hours a month to take that over. Tiny shift with massive ripple effect. And step number 3 is anchor it into 2026. This isn't just an exercise for today. This is you saying, I refuse to drag this same level of overwhelm into 2026. When you look back a year from now, I want you to be able to say, I'm doing more of the work I love. I've bought my brain and my time back. My business is more profitable and more joyful because I stopped trying to do everything alone. And this starts with one list, one decision, and one task you choose not to carry into 2026. That freedom empire you're building, it doesn't require you to suffer through every task. It requires you to lead strategically. And that means knowing what to keep and what to hand off. And you've already proven you can do hard things. Now it's time to prove you can make smart decisions about where your energy goes. So start with that 3-column list, choose one task to hand off, and give your 2026 self that gift. On Thursday, we're tackling something I know so many of you struggle with, the comparison trap. What to do when everyone else seems further ahead. I'm going to give you practical tools to take that comparison that lives in your head and turn it from being your enemy into being your fuel. And next Tuesday, you won't want to miss it. I'm revealing my entire 2026 planning process. Your 2026 success map starts now. And I'm walking you through exactly how I map out my year for maximum profit and minimum burnout. And until then, go build your freedom empire the smart way, not the hard way. I'll talk to you again on Thursday. See ya. Bye. Before you go, if today's episode helped you, imagine how many more lives could be transformed if other creators, coaches, and experts found these strategies too. Your shares and reviews help more course creators discover how to get their knowledge out into the world. Please take a moment to rate the show and leave a quick review. When you do, we get to reach more people and we make a bigger impact together. Because when more people who help people succeed, the world becomes a better place. Thank you.